When I go back to work in December, when my maternity leave ends, I will be spending £2,200 per month on childcare. And to put that in perspective, that's pretty much almost all of my entire salary. I have a 3-year-old son who will be starting preschool in September, and I have a baby who will be 11 months when she goes to nursery in December. So even though my son is getting 2.5 hours per day free, we still have to pay the wraparound costs for his childcare, which is going to be £55 per day. And for my daughter, as an additional child at that nursery, it will cost £54 per day. And we also have to pay additional transport costs for my son to get to and from his preschool. So that's an extra £220 per year. So it's actually costing us more to get my son's free hours of preschool. Childcare is a devolved issue in Northern Ireland, and we have been getting money from Westminster for a childcare strategy, but we haven't had a sitting government to implement any strategy. It's now at the point where we need urgent intervention for families. We do have a tax-free childcare scheme which gets you 20% off your childcare bill, but even with that, it's still costing me £2,200 per month. And for those who maybe don't have kids, or maybe have like grandparents to help with childcare, who think, well, this isn't affecting me, it is. The childcare crisis affects absolutely everybody, because NHS staff, teaching staff who cannot afford these childcare costs are being pushed out of work. So there's a skill and a staff shortage within these areas, and that has a knock-on effect on things like the NHS, which is already on its knees. So then there's the argument of, well, why have kids if you can't afford them? But who can afford to have kids nowadays? So if you were to be able to like comfortably afford those childcare costs without stressing every month, you'd need a combined household income of around £100,000 per year. And the average, or the median salary in Northern Ireland, is about £32,000 per year. So that means only the highest earners can afford to have kids. I think like only 10% of people in Northern Ireland earn over £59,000 a year. So you mean to say that only those with big salaries can afford to have children? It's a ridiculous argument. And I will say, I have no issue with the costs themselves. I think the nursery workers and those in childcare deserve to be paid really fairly. It's just that we need intervention from the government. So Stormont has been back sitting for about like 4 months now, and they said that childcare would be a top priority, but it's like tumbleweeds, nothing has happened. But yeah, as you can tell, I'm quite passionate about this subject. So I would love to know your thoughts on childcare in Northern Ireland, what you're paying per month, what you think a good solution would be, or how this has affected you.